Hey everybody, happy Monday. You are listening to Daddy Issues. I'm Dean McDermott. I'm a daddy of 6. With me as always, Nicky Paris, who needs a daddy, but we're missing Adam Hunter today. But in lieu of Adam, we have a fantastic guest.
Amazing
guest.
The party starter,
Darren Carter.
Woo!
Thank you.
The crazy ginger.
Thank you, Darren Carter, host of the Pocket Party podcast. And I want to thank you guys for having me on.
Darren, we love you.
Thank you. Funny.
You look scared, Darren. You're like, what did I walk into?
Hey, before the microphones were on, it was it was easy. We're talking about pigs, talking about business cards. We're talking about It's been great so far. So thank you.
As soon as we start rolling, just every thought we have goes out of our head.
Right.
We got nothing.
Can you tell us another story?
So thanks
from
for listening,
McDonald's?
everybody. That's a great episode. Darren, thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
I'm loving Darren's business card. You have to take a look. It's just, you know what? It's simple. I thought, do people use the business cards? Are they useful at all?
I think they are, and the reason I gave it to you is I'm very excited. You know, when you get a new business card, you're like you're so excited to give it out, and it's like probably in a month from now I'll probably forget that I have them. But you know, I stopped giving out business cards probably like 3 years ago. I was like, well, people, they go on Instagram. If they want to find you, they'll find you. And before that, I had business cards, but then they would be too cluttered. Like I'd put every bit of information, like Twitter, Facebook, email, Gmail, your website, podcast, and it was too cluttered.
And they were so small too.
They were small, and I felt like it was more like it was something people would just want to take and maybe throw away. But this, I kept it simple. I put the name of the podcast, Pocket Party. I put the YouTube and the link, and Instagram and the link. That way, there's like podcast on the front and the 2 things on the back. That way, it's like this is it. This is where I want you guys to go. Check it out.
Listen, I can't wait to break up my cocaine with this later. So
exactly. Hey, start that party.
I can't wait to put it in the spokes of my bike.
Oh, yeah, here we go. I'll do the impression.
You're putting it in a motorcycle.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
Now, the
I
first
thought
time
you were going
I
to
saw
put it
you,
in a bicycle. That was really
bicycle.
good. That was really good.
You're so good at doing sound effects. The first time that I saw you perform, I thought that the acid I did in 2008 was coming back for a second. I've never had. Were you always good at doing sound? Because it really is incredible.
You know, it's something I've would always do, like just in conversation and a little bit on the mic. But then as I would sort of like lean into it more, and I'm like that motorcycle. That's one that I was like, I need to learn how to do that. Because I really thought it would be fascinating to do. Because I would be like, I had this bit about my first mode of transportation, which was a Suzuki 185.
Me too. I had a Honda,
like one of those little
400 Super Sport. Yeah,
yeah.
And we're big guys, you see us on little bikes. It's kind of funny.
And also, like it was legal to take on the highway, but you really shouldn't. I mean, it was barely legal. Like it was whatever the law. Like you had to have rear view mirrors. And did you take yours on the?
I took mine on the highway. Yeah.
See, mine would like shake. Like once you got past like maybe 50 miles an hour, especially over like an overpass, like they have those rain grates where the pavement is a little bit, wiggly.
Right.
The thing would go like, and it was I'd only do it for maybe like a mile, and I'd get off the next exit and be like, what was I thinking? Don't do that again. So
yeah, on smaller bikes like that, especially back then too, like pushing it to do the speed limit, something was going to blow up. So you were always under the speed limit.
Yeah. I would love to see you on a little bike. I feel like you'd be like a bear in the circus.
Totally. That's exactly what it was like.
It's
exactly what it was like. Yeah, it was a 73 Honda.
Oh, see? Yeah.
Honda 400 Super Sport.
See, mine was a Suzuki. It was a 1971 edition. It had an orange gas tank, and I remember it was so cool because at the time I pretty much only went to my grandparents' house, my place, the radio station I worked at, and the school. So it was all within like a 2-mile radius.
Right, perfect. Yeah, I did.
So it was like, I'm like, this is safe. I'm not gonna. But then I saw this VW bug, like the light turned green, and this VW bug went through the intersection. They got sideswiped, and like it was almost like slow motion. Like I saw the glass go up in slow motion, like, and then come back down. And I was like, oh my God, that could have been me. And I just was, after that, I was like, I got to get a car. Like, I don't want to,
So did you quit riding then, or?
Well, no, I think I rode out of necessity for a little bit longer. And then I finally got enough money to get a car.
Right.
What was your first car?
This is sad. You probably won't even know what it is. Dean would know, but you probably wouldn't even know what it is. It was a Yugo.
Yes.
Do you know what
I wanted a Yugo. They were so cool. Oh, and okay, where are you from?
Fresno, California.
Okay, so I'm from Toronto, Canada. So you guys got a lot of cars that we didn't.
Oh, really?
So when I saw the Yugo, I was like, I want a Yugo.
Yeah.
What did it look like? Like what made it? I'm picturing like a punch buggy.
Yeah, it was like a I don't know. How would you describe it? Like it would be like an uncool Prius.
Wow, that sounds really hot.
Yeah, that's a good.
Did you get a lot of ass with a vehicle like that?
Yeah, one time, but not really.
It was a drifter. He gave a ride to. She gave him a handy.
It was like, I mean, I was 20 years old at the time, so it's like, it was bright red. It was, and that was just my penis. All right.
It was a great crowd.
Hey, okay. No, I mean, it was a Yugo. It was. Let me just describe it. It was basically.
Please.
Bare bones car, like it was. And by the way, it was a big punchline for a lot of comedians. They would make fun of it. Like Jay Leno would be like, "Hey, you hear about the Yugo? Do you know why they call it a Yugo? Because you get to the stop signs and you're like, no Yugo, no Yugo, no Yugo." They'd be like, "Why does a Yugo have rear window defrosters? It keeps your hands warm while pushing it." These are all these jokes, right? Like, what was the other? I mean, there's just all these Yugo jokes, and then I remember when I got the car. I was thinking, those are just jokes. This isn't real. Like it's affordable. And I want to say I paid like $85 for a month. By the way,
I paid $85 for it.
No. I made payments, and it was 80. It was a used Yugo, and I paid $85 a month for the car payment, or $89 a month, and then the insurance was $105. So like, the insurance was higher than the car. It was like. But this thing had no glove compartment. Like it didn't even come with it, I mean, it was basic.
And it was a stick too, right?
Stick shift, yep. But it was easy to park. And I know this sounds like a joke, but it was actually easy to push, because when like things would go out, like the starter or like things, and you needed to push it. And this is where I learned you could do this. You could somebody could push you, and as they're pushing you, just put it in first gear real quick.
You bump start
and it would take off.
I had my first car in L.A. I lived in Orange County with my sister when I was 17, and her boyfriend at the time gave me an MG.
Oh.
And the starter was screwed, so I'd always have to park on a hill. So I'd always bump start it. Oh, those were simpler times, weren't they? Gosh.
They were. And MG is like, do you know what that is? It's like a little sports car.
I don't know what either of you are talking about, but I'm going to sit here and smile.
Oh, Nikki's here. Hey, Nikki, I didn't see you there.
I have a Jeep because I saw Britney Spears had one in her music video, and I wanted to feel like that, so that's why I got a Jeep.
Do you like it?
Really? No.
What do you like about it?
That it doesn't have a spare tire.
Okay.
Oh, hey, what the driver does? Hey-o. I'm just kidding.
Darren, I have some issues. Clearly, as you can see, when I was doing Dean's show in Woodland Hills, and there was a garbage bag in the middle of the road, and I just didn't feel like moving, so I drove over it, and it was a block of cement.
Oh my gosh!
So I drove 20 more minutes to the show.
Yeah,
and
usually he avoids stuff in the street, but
I wasn't in the mood that night.
For some reason, he's like, I'm
going
over it.
I have some ego issues. It was too much for me to move the car, so I ran over it, and then I said, I'm going to leave this to a real man, and I left it to Dean when he got there, so I made him look for the spare tire.
That was my inaugural comedy show in Woodland Hills. I do a monthly show in Woodland Hills. We'd love to have you out.
I'll do it.
Bring your flashlight.
Love that. And bring a spare tire.
Did you ever see what he...
He is good. He's good.
And you're a dad. And you're a dad. I'm sure your son gets a kick out of you.
Oh man, and I get a kick out of him. It's great. Yeah.
How old's your son?
Yeah.
6.
He just turned 12.
He just turned 12. Oh my God! So the stuff I've seen on you was 6 years old. Oh my gosh! So I have a 12-year-old.
Oh, do you?
My son Liam's 12.
Wow, is he going through puberty?
Not the hair part.
Oh,
no, he's going through the stink part.
Well, my son is half Armenian, so he's got the underarm hair already. His voice is getting deeper.
Is he bro? He's going to say bro.
Yeah, bro, come on, bro.
Come on, give me some more X.
Come on, bro.
X for that. X.
Kardashian.
No, it's I walked into his room the other day, and I was like, oh my God, it smells like stale food.
Like BO a little bit.
BO and like masturbation, and I was just like, so I.
You know that he's masturbating already?
I don't know that. I don't think he is.
I don't
but
think
it just smelled bad. Like I had to drag a drifter in there to make it smell better. That's my second drifter joke this episode.
Now, when do you introduce when you should start wearing deodorant to your child without offending them?
That was last year, but the school did it. It was like they had like the where they put the boys in one room and the girls in another.
Right.
I think that's how it went down. And then they I think it's sponsored because they all got like this thing. Is it Old Spice? It might be Old Spice.
They get the little minis.
The little minis, and then
no way.
And now he likes to wear the little, like the little minis, and they introduced that in 5th grade.
They didn't do that when I was in school.
Yeah, I started him like when he was 5 or 6.
Really,
I was like, dude, just start now.
Yeah, just get in the habit of it. Yeah.
And he doesn't use it.
He doesn't.
No, it's so funny because I
Is he
remember.
vegan?
I remember. You'd think he's not because he doesn't use any deodorant. He doesn't like brushing his teeth. He doesn't like showering. And I'm like, dude, when I was 12, man, like I wanted my stuff to look good. I wanted it to be crisp. I wanted it to smell good. And he's like, meh.
Sounds like he might be a lesbian.
His nails are dirty. He plays a lot of softball. You might be onto something.
There was a girl in my school named Yaisha. If you're listening, you smell like shit. And honestly, they really, I'm in therapy
And
because
Nikki hates you.
I wish that you would have got the Old Spice mini, and it's because of you I'm in therapy. So if you're listening, fuck you.
No, I remember reading some book on hygiene at that age, and I was like trying and anything in my power to like, be attractive to the ladies. So I was like, oh, okay, so like you said, brush your teeth. And I remember like they said I remember I must have been in like 8th or 9th grade. It must have been 8th grade because I remember walking to school and like they said like a way to have bad breath is like not drinking enough water. And I remember like, oh, I need to drink more water. Like I remember like thinking about these things like, they would get in my, like it was introduced early on, like, make sure you brush and you floss.
What about the licking your hand and smelling that thing?
I think I've heard of that.
That was introduced to me in grade 7.
Oh yeah. Does it work?
I can't tell.
I don't know. Because you can't really tell, right? If you're
I don't think you could really, no.
I think you're supposed to like, but that's why I'm always, usually I carry the pack of gum. It's like just to be,
Right. Did you always have a fear of having bad breath?
Not a fear of it, but just to be,
Did you see a therapist about it?
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Darren, why do you have 5 packs of gum on you right now? Okay.
I remember Eric Griffin got in my car and he goes, "Your car smells like a bubblegum factory." Because I have like a lot of packs of gum, like maybe like 3 of them are left or 2, and I just sort of like, leave them on the seat or whatever. It's like glove compartment or something. But
in my lifetime, I need to see you on an Orbit commercial. That's what would make me happy. So I hope that happens.
Do you guys chew gum on a regular basis?
I have TMJ, so I can't.
I used to chew gum like crazy. I would chew gum until it fell apart. Have you ever had gum fall apart in your mouth?
No, I usually spit it out before then.
No, because I had this all through high school. I was like,
I'm sorry, how long are you chewing gum for?
When it turns like putty? You had no idea. I would just in high school. I just wanted to get through the halls, and I didn't want to be seen. And I just chewing gum just helped. And I chewed gum, and like I remember sitting in class once, and it was like this hubba bubba just went, it just quit on me. It just gave out. It's like I no longer can be gum. You've chewed this so long, and it just turned into like this sticky liquid, and I had to put my hand.
And you're like, I'm licking my palm.
Can I? It was disgusting.
Yeah,
but it was my way of getting through shyness in high school.
But I did get a crown on one of my teeth in the back, and the dentist said like, don't chew gum. It's a temporary crown. And so I went like, however long that takes, 3 weeks or a month without chewing gum, and it kind of took some getting used to it first, and then I realized like, oh, I guess I can get through this. But I guess just in social situations, a lot of times I'm like, pop the gum in, just.
I wonder if it's like smoking.
Yeah,
when I used to smoke, when I was nervous, I'd smoke in social situations.
It might be. Like after the shows, a lot of times when I meet people or whatever, the meet and greet, I'm trying to make sure I put the gum in real quick. I don't want to be, I still want to be gross to people, but it doesn't even matter, right? It doesn't really matter. No one's really.
I wish a lot of people would take that approach.
Yeah,
especially a lot of comedians. I'm like, did you fucking shower when you came here for the show tonight? So I appreciate the effort. You always look clean.
Yeah, I'm always putting the soap, moisturizer, deodorant, trying to shower before but like I said, it doesn't really matter because I know, I have this friend that like, he was an underwear model and fitness model and all that kind of stuff. I don't think
poor guy.
Yeah, I know, right?
I didn't know you considered me a friend. That's sweet.
But that guy would like do things that I was like, I would never do that kind of stuff. Like he would just like, as he's talking to a girl, he'd hawk up a loogie and like spit it and just keep talking. And I remember one time we were talking and there was like a street sign and he kind of just backed up and started scratching his back on the street sign. And I'm like, just all this stuff that's kind of like, I would never do this stuff, like.
I've had somebody hack a loogie on a date.
Yeah, it's just gross, right?
Yeah, and I was just like, was that even saliva? Like, what was that? It was disgusting.
Yeah,
well, it depends. Where did you hawk the loogie?
I don't remember where, but it did happen. Of course, that would happen to me on a date.
Because spit comes in handy when you're having sex. I'm just saying. I'm just wondering what part of the date you're at when the loogie was hawked.
If you're too cheap for lube.
Where it went. It's nature's lube.
Right.
Oh my God, it's like 1,000,000 degrees in here. I gotta take this jacket off.
This is how we start the show. We all start wearing our full clothes. I hope you'll be comfortable with that. I failed to leave that out in the invite. Yeah. And then, we'll be nude by the end of this.
I know. I'm like wearing the sweatshirt eventually. we're just sitting in a towel like we're in a spa or something, a sauna.
Yeah.
Now, when did your special come out?
That Ginger's Crazy. That
Ginger's
came
Crazy.
out, I want to say it came out in 2010 or 2011. It's been a while. And they just uploaded it to YouTube. But in the meantime, I upload all my stuff on YouTube on the channel. Like, that's why I'm like, you know, my theory about YouTube has changed. I used to be like, well, I have like these 6 videos or 7 videos out there that have like, you know, a lot of views, like thousands. One of them has like 800,000. And I'm like, that's good enough. And then I realized like, that's not really kind of what people, when they want to see a comedian, they kind of want to, you know, I'm not going to say keep in touch, but, you know, like now I have over 200 videos on my channel. That way it's like they can see something that's current. They can, if they want to like dig back and be like, oh, wow, here's his first
See
TV.
some vintage Darren
Here's his
Carter.
first TV appearance, or vintage. Or if they want to, you know, like see like this, like how you guys are creating content, like an interview, or you know, as opposed to just like the 3 videos of you that are out there that are just killer videos, but you know.
Darren Carter chewing a no longer released flavor of gum, Winterberry.
Well, I think you're so funny, and I loved. I first started watching you. I saw your stuff at the Laugh Factory when you were talking about when your wife first got pregnant, and how you had to wait 9 months to find out if the kid was, you know, good looking or not.
No.
Yeah, and then you did this thing where it was like this creature, it was like like this raptor.
Oh yeah, I did do that. It was about the I forgot about that because sometimes I'll take a piece of a joke and I'll only do it for that one night. Oh yeah, where the baby comes out, where he's like, oh yeah, how'd that joke go? About
You
half
talked,
Armenian, half amazing.
right?
Yeah.
Half
where he's
Armenian and then half this.
Yeah,
pointing
half,
to yourself.
half this and oh yeah, I do remember. I didn't really because sometimes I think I've only said it that way for that particular video. A couple of those lines like that. And
It was so funny, and you talked about an app. Does
Yeah.
that app? Does it
what
exist?
did I say? I don't even remember that. See,
You take a picture of the father and take a picture of the mother, and you shake it, and it shows you what you're
that's
going to
right.
get. Does that exist?
I
Because
should
I was
look
like,
that-
I want to get that app.
There's a website that does that.
That's funny.
Because I want to see what our kid would look like, Nikki.
Okay. Give me your headshot and give me 20
Oh, I
minutes.
totally forgot about that. But that's what's good about like and also like if you keep putting up videos, then you kind of like put like a little bit of an objective and a little bit of pressure on yourself to be like, okay, now I need to do this next bit. Now I need to do this next bit.
Or if you got one that really kills, like, oh, I got to top that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you'll think, how can I ever top this? But if you just keep like the Gangland bit was one that like really took off where I talked about, you know, watching Gangland and they'd be like, Gangland, tell us about your gang. And they'd interview these gang members that are cloaked in secrecy with their bandanas. And so I'd pull up my shirt and be like, we're not scared of nothing. We run the streets. Puto, what's up? ¿Qué onda ese? Where do you come? Tell us more about your gang. We're not scared of nothing. What's up? Orderly? What's up? You know, and he goes back and forth. And it was, and I remember like, and then eventually that character breaks down where he's like, oh, I forget how that one goes, but see, that's what I'm saying. Eventually, you forget how they go.
Yeah.
But I remember he was like running out of breath. He's, hurry up, I can't breathe, bro. I can't.
And he slowly goes down on the stage.
He starts
like he's
passing. I need a
out.
cookie and orange juice. We run the streets. Which street do you run? The one by the mall, by the closed down Circuit City. You know.
It's such a funny bit.
But what's funny about that bit too is I could never do it when I'm wearing a V-neck because you have to pull the shirt up. And so sometimes people would request it and they'd be like, do the Gangland bit. But then with the V-neck, the shirt kept falling down and it would ruin the bit. It's like,
It's so funny you mentioned that because I was like, wow, that sweater stayed up there. Like,
Yes.
it didn't budge.
and in the comment section, people were like, I think he's hiding a Mexican under there.
Were you?
Because I'd go back and forth like, that's right. What back and forth. But
So I guess it stuck really well with the sweat on your forehead. It helps.
yes,
Not-
yeah, because by that time you're like sweating a little bit. And so I thought I could never top that. And then right now I'm doing a bit that I'm like, that's the big one that I'm doing. And it's called Calm Down. And it's I put it on YouTube. And it's that bit is where I totally transform and do all these voices where I say, here's something you never want to tell somebody, calm down, you know. And then I go, it's like time stands still, and it's like, you know, what do I say? It's like it's like you're pressing that big red nuclear button, buddy. You know, time will stand still. Hey, you need to calm. And I actually acted out. Like, you need to calm down. And I do like this slow motion thing, which actually is kind of cool. Like I've seen it on video. And I'm like, that does look cool. It's like, and then I have the lady, the girl or the wife or whatever. She turns around and I make her. She's like, what did you just tell me? You know, I did all that crack and go, did you just tell me to calm down? And then what's great is when I have her like go, ah, and act all crazy, I take the flashlight and I put it underneath, and I have it strobe. So she's like, "Did you just tell me to calm down?" And I go, "Ah, wait, hold on, ah, wait, hold on, ah," whatever, something like that. But it's like, I really get into it, and it's like, that's one where I'm like, man, how am I going to top that? But then eventually, I'll come up with something else that'll top that. And
You always carry a flashlight? I'm impressed.
Here's my line about
Dean
that.
always carries a flashlight, a little different.
Hey, I like to go myself.
Lisa Ann gave me an autographed flashlight.
She was on the show.
I take it
Really?
everywhere.
She was on the show. He shined it right in this room.
It's in the car.
Now, do you do any character work in the bedroom?
Yes. Oh yeah. There's a bit about that. No. Wow, wow, with Snoop Dogg. Oh wait. Wow, wow. Yeah. What's cracking? Oh wait.
That's a good Snoop Dogg.
Oh man.
So when did you always do voices and sound effects and impersonations in your act, or is that something that
Always, but I don't really do impressions. But yeah, I did. It's funny because I just happen to do like Snoop Dogg and a few in there. But it's like it's tough when like I remember I would do like morning radio and they'd be like, "Who else do you do impersonations of?" And I'd be like, because it always sounds lame. It's more like what I mean. It's always like stupid shit from the past, like Kermit the Frog or whatever. It's not funny, but it's
I
like
also think too when you get put on the spot like
yes,
that,
yes,
you forget all the great ones
Yes.
that you do.
And then the pressure's on, your voice gets nervous, the perspiration
Yeah, and then
starts.
you pull one out that just like he's like Kermit the Frog. I'm sure it's a great Kermit the Frog, but it's
but
like,
everyone could do
damn,
Kermit the
I do
Frog.
like
I
a
know
really
exactly. You're like, damn
Trump,
it,
shit.
I could have said this or that, and then. But it's funny when you said, "Do you always carry the flashlight?" Like how people say, like "sun's out, guns out." Like I was like, "Hey, you know what? When the night's out, the lights out." Because you never know. Like after I do this, I'm gonna, I'm gonna go. You never know. Like when I'm gonna be in Hollywood, at these clubs, people are like, "Hey, can you do a spot?" And I'm like, I want to make sure I'm prepared.
I love it. You think you were a home inspector.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes in handy.
I'm gonna get a flashlight. I'm gonna start carrying a flashlight.
They have that thing called EDC, right? Everyday carry.
Oh,
like,
I've been
what
to
do you
EDC.
carry? What do you carry every day? Like your phone, your money, your
I
wallet?
thought you meant the music festival.
Oh, the EDC. What's that?
I thought you were talking about-
Carnival.
Nikki has ADD.
Sorry.
And TMJ. A lot of
Yeah,
initials.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
BRB, I'm gonna go. No, I don't. EDC is a music festival. That's why I thought you were saying that because it's dance music.
So what is EDC?
Everyday carry. Like it means like what do you? I don't know. I was on a Reddit or something, and they were like, "What is your everyday carry? What do you carry?"
Is that what people used to say in the 80s?
I don't know.
Dean?
Fuck off. What's my everyday carry?
Well, by the way, I asked this guy because I do this, for the podcast. I was talking to this Vietnam vet. I go, we could talk about more than Vietnam. We could talk about this and that. And I didn't realize the guy was a little bit paranoid. And we could do like I just read this article about, hey, what's your everyday carry? And he goes, I'm not telling anyone what I have on me at all times. I was like, oh, maybe that's
I better go now.
Yeah, every day. Well, I just told you I carry gum, chapstick, stuff like that.
Yeah. All your beauty regimen.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a wallet, my keys, and a that's pretty basic, and a Starbucks.
I got my
If
shiv.
I don't have coffee in the morning, I'm very moody.
I got my shiv.
Yeah.
And my 9mm. That's it.
A pooper scooper for the pigs.
Oh, that's right. And the pooper scooper.
Right. The pigs.
Pooper scooper in my back pocket. You never know.
I don't have an everyday carry. Just keys and wallet and phone.
Yeah, keys. But what's funny is Adam Sandler. I think he wrote a whole song about that, right? I don't know if you maybe look it up sometime.
I will.
Everyday carry.
Yeah, or gun, or carrying like wallet, keys, and then this and that, and it was funny. I was like, that's true. That's how people are.
Now, has your son come and seen you perform? Obviously, I'm sure.
Videos. He's seen videos.
You've never been in person?
I don't think so. Not yet. I don't think so. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think so. Usually I show him just the highlights. Hey, check this out and this and that. And yeah.
You go back and watch one of his videos and there's like, did you see Austin Powers when he got on the little guy's shoulders?
Yeah.
I was like, Darren, you didn't notice that guy in the long trench coat in the audience?
But I don't think that I know exactly like that 6'8" man. That's
he was wobbly.
The one in the fedora?
I don't even know if like my kid would think stand up is funny. I mean, because they're used to seeing like this quick cut stuff on YouTube and my son's a musician. Like he loves music and he likes watching the silly stuff that they do on. He watches this guy named Davey 504. He's like, I slapped the bass. He's like some Italian guy that does like different like bass stuff. So my son's into like.
Is he a bass player or what's his
Yeah.
instrument?
He started out with piano and now he plays bass, but he could play like all these different instruments. But I I'm not a musician, so it's interesting to be around somebody who's not only a musician but has like a, they call it perfect pitch, where you can tell, and it's crazy. Like
He has perfect pitch.
yes, like it's like
He can tune
Yes.
his guitar
yes,
without using
he can
the
tell you. Like today,
electric
I
tuner
put
and-
the fork, like I moved my fork, and he goes, "That was F sharp or something," and I go, "What?" And I go, "This," and he goes, "Now it's G or whatever." I don't know. But stuff like
That's
that.
cool.
That's a big deal.
It's
That's a God-given
Yeah.
gift.
It's pretty cool. Like I've tested him on those YouTube videos, like, and then I saw another test online where, like, I'll have the phone, like, I know, like, it'll be like ding or whatever, and it's cool to, like, they can't see it, but then the person, they know that that's like D sharp or that's whatever. I took him to
That's
the
really
boxing
cool.
gym where I work out, and the bell goes ding ding ding, and he was like F sharp or C natural it's pretty cool.
Well, when I was in
Dad,
middle
you
school,
like a girl. F sharp. Where do you box?
Yeah. Oh, I was going to this one that closed. It was in North Hollywood. I'm sorry, Northridge. It closed, to my knowledge, because I went there and the door was locked. And I think there might be some behind the scenes stuff. I don't know. Like,
Or they saw you coming. They're like, that
yeah,
guy.
he's here. Yeah, yeah.
lock the door.
There's that guy that bugs us. No, yeah. But now I'm going to another place in Reseda. It's in Reseda. It's so new to me that I don't even know the name of it. But
Okay, because I pug as
Oh,
well.
do you really?
Yeah.
It's the
I
best,
love-
right?
It's the best. It's the best. I love it.
Which city would you box at? Like,
Woodland Hills.
Woodland Hills.
Tap out Woodland Hills. Yeah, I teach classes out of there.
you
too.
teach classes?
Yeah.
What do you
could
teach?
beat up Dean.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I do this thing
Boxing
called,
and stuff,
yeah,
or is it
boxing?
You teach boxing?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I never
Yeah.
knew that.
I do this thing
Wow.
called the lunch punch, and it's at the noon hour on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the brunch punch on Sunday. And I set up a ring.
That's
and,
so
and
cool.
You can get in the ring with me and one-way spar, so you can hit me, but I won't hit you back.
That's cool. I
Yeah,
mean,
so-
and what's cool about that? Well, it depends on who's. It's probably people that aren't trying to hurt you. You guys are trying to learn.
I got in the. Oh man, this one guy got in the ring.
no.
He's an actor, and and what you're doing a bag class, and then I'll call you in. And
Yeah.
we'll do like a 2-minute round.
Yeah.
And then I saved him for last because I saw how he was kicking the shit out of the heavy bags.
Oh, no.
I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it was great because then it challenged me.
Yeah.
Too, right? Because if you get a little too rambunctious,
Yeah.
I'll put you in check.
Yeah.
Right. And
But you say you're not going to punch him back. But what will you do?
Yeah,
but
He's
if
lying.
if it gets out of because some people come in and they're like, oh, whoa, I'm gonna beat you up, a big guy, whatever,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and then they just kind of just give them a little.
you
pop, you put
you
him in
block a
check.
little hard. In
Yeah.
other words, you like
Yeah.
as they're jabbing, you kind of swipe it extra.
Yeah, like because I'm moving around and stuff, right? Like I'm not a target.
Yeah.
That's what takes it to the next level. It's like you can hit a heavy bag all day long,
Yeah.
but when you get a moving target, it changes the game.
He's so right about that. Like what he's talking about, like it's so you don't realize how tiring it is to punch something and not connect, and then just to have him like just barely moving it like that, where your punch is like going off.
I love how you're assuming that I've never taken a boxing class. You're like, I know you don't know what it's like.
Boxing, Nikki, is when two men or women
Right.
get in a ring and they put on padded gloves and they try to fight each other.
I want to get back to having perfect pitch because I
Yeah.
want you to tell your
No,
son.
I'm so impressed with that. That's amazing.
When I was in middle school, I
And then we'll
spent
talk about boxing, 'cause-
$500 on a kit to develop perfect pitch, where
Oh.
it basically would have you play different notes with a different crayon, and you'd have to pay the note. So basically, I wasted $600 in 6 months, and I still don't have perfect pitch. So tell your son that there's idiots out there.
Nikki, you're tone deaf.
I know, really.
Because they
was
call
an
it
E-
like
that
perfect
was an E
pitch, and
sharp.
then there's like relative pitch, right, where you're sort of in the ballpark of what the note is, I guess.
Yeah. No, perfect pitch is a gift.
It really is.
I sat
right?
there with my
Yeah,
crayons.
so like he's going down this musical road, right?
Yeah.
Like he's gifted.
It's great. He went to in the talent show. He got to. By the way, he likes a lot of old school music. Like his favorite artist is Neil Sedaka. You know?
That was my first concert as a kid.
Really? No way.
My sister and brother-in-law took me to see Neil Sedaka at the Ontario Place Forum in Toronto. I was 8.
What type of music is that?
It's like
I
50s.
I love my calendar, girl.
Oh.
Every single
sweet
day of the
calendar.
week.
Ba-dum.
It's kind of
January.
doo-wop. It kind of doo-wop.
I know your son's not here, but that sounded flat to me. I'm sorry.
I know.
You're talking to some boxers over here. we don't do that music stuff.
Okay, how about this one? Because breaking up is hard to do. Don't take, do you know that song?
Don't take your
Love away from me.
I'm sure I've heard it like a Johnny Rockets or something.
Yeah. Okay. Elton John. He did a duet with Elton John called Bad Blood.
I'm not an Elton John fan.
Right. I pointed at you. I pointed at him.
You're like, I know you love
Elton John, man.
The one with the glitter.
Bad Blood.
Then and they did that in Dumb and Dumber, didn't they?
Yeah. No, because I sang it like Mockingbird. Mockingbird. Yeah,
okay.
that's what they did.
But I know what you're talking about. I forgot about that dude.
Bad Blood. Bad Blood. Anyways, Neil Sedaka.
He's gonna look it up tonight. You're gonna become the biggest Neil Sedaka fan.
I already am.
He is great. Neil Sedaka, let me tell you something. We've seen him live in concert a few times. My son got to meet him. My wife, she's such a good mom. She wrote a nice little letter, and I told her, don't get your hopes up. They probably get these letters all the time. But his tour manager wrote back, and my son got to meet Neil Sedaka. It's on my Instagram.
Way.
Yeah, I put it. It's him and Neil Sedaka. It's great. They're like the same height. They are. They're like 5. He's like 5'4" or something. You know. My son's wearing his tie that's like a piano tie, and he's all like, and
that's adorable.
As a joke, my son, because he puts that picture in his locker at school, and he goes, "I'm gonna tell kids it's my grandpa." But Neil Sedaka, man, he's funny and like that's why I love watching like older performers that are a lot of them tell stories in between songs.
Yeah.
They're not like when you're really hot, like you're probably like just plowing through the hits or whatever. But then as time goes by, you got these great stories. So Neil Sedaka said something to the effect of, between 1958 and 1963, I sold 60 million albums. And then he pauses. And then came the Beatles. Not good. Yeah. And then he talks about how his career was kind of dead for like 10 years, but then Elton John reached out to him and said,
That's my confirmation sponsor, by the way. It was Elton John. I want everyone to know.
Nicky just woke up when Darren said Elton John.
And then Elton John said, "Hey, just how European stars were big in America. Well, American stars like doo-wop and 50s and that kind of stuff was popular in England. And then that's when they started producing and doing records together. But yeah, Neil Sedaka and."
That's awesome. I love, because my guy, Liam, he's just discovered Frank Zappa.
Oh, cool.
He's like, "Hey, Dad, do you know Frank Zappa?" I'm like, if you're off the road, I'm like, "What? Of course." Yeah. And he said, "Can I play a song for you?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, buddy." He's like, "Why does it hurt when I pee?" I was like, "Dude, this is awesome."
That's a Frank Zappa song?
Oh yeah, 'cause Frank had like this obscure. It kind of bordered on comedy.
I love when you guys tell me about the olden days.
But
it's fun.
The musicianship is unbelievable. Like,
yeah.
Everybody in his band, like Frank's an incredible guitar player, but all the musicians that he used were incredible.
Did you ever hear the song in the 80s, Valley Girl?
Yeah.
By Moon Unit Zappa? That was his daughter? Probably not. It was a Valley Girl.
Valley Girl.
She's a Valley Girl.
I think I missed that one.
Yeah, I know.
I was born in 1992.
Wow. Dude.
I know I look like
I'm really excited about is doing this new podcast with Darren.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot of fun.
The pocket party.
You're out, Nicky.
He's back in.
It's like a pocket pussy, but better.
Yeah.
Now you're married.
Nicky, let's talk about boxing.
Let's talk about what do you want to talk about, Nicky?
I want to talk about Darren's family life.
I want to hear some daddy issues. The show is daddy issues.
Issues.
Do you have any daddy issues with your daddy, or do you have any issues as a daddy yourself?
Oh, interesting.
We're here for you, Darren.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
Interesting. Do I have any? I don't have any issues.
Do you have great advice from your dad?
When did your life become perfect?
Yeah, exactly. I probably do have issues. It's back to the thing. Quit doing impression. It's like, issues. What are your issues? No. But I don't know. You know what it is? Okay, this could be an issue, but it's not. But it could
not
be.
Yet.
Not yet. I know. I'm adopted, and I think being adopted, knowing that I have like my own family, like I think that made me want to connect even deeper with my own son. You know what I mean? Like my own child, to be like, as opposed to like, whatever, kids, I really just, like, when I see him, I'm like, gosh, I don't know. So there's that. It's like, ever since he was born, and plus me being a comedian, it's like, I don't know, like, my wife is the one that, like, she's so good with, like, making him study and, like, really, doing pop-up quizzes with him for, like, she was a spelling bee champion in 6th grade. And she went to orientation, and in an orientation they were like, hey, there's going to be, I like to quiz the kids on spelling. And my wife, she goes, my ears perked up like, oh, spelling. She goes, I'm going to, sometimes I'll quiz them on the 200 most misspelled words. And so my wife was like, I'm going to, let's work on this. And so like my kid has been acing these tests and stuff, and I think it's amazing. Like when your kids, you know what I mean? When your kids can do something that you can't do, where you're like, how the heck do you do that? Like the perfect pitch, the spelling, like naming countries that I can't even name these countries.
Yeah. I haven't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've had the experience of my kids doing something I haven't been able to do.
Really?
That's really cool.
It'll
Because
happen,
the perfect pitch. I mean, that was I'm trying to think. It's like, all my kids are bright. They're really funny.
Well, they've already got you beat.
There we go. We found it.
No.
How can my kids be funnier and better looking than me and bright?
Your kids are angels.
They're awesome.
But we were
They're
talking
awesome
about before
kids.
you got here that, sometimes it's hard for you to have to go out in the middle of the night to do spots. So does that cause any trouble at home for you?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, that's what I'm saying. Like I like to wait till he goes to bed before I go out. I mean, not all the time. Like today I'm here, but a lot of times I'm like, okay, it starts winding down. Okay, now it's like 9:30. Okay, let me get out there and go do something. That's if I have a spot, I got to go. But But if I don't, I know it's best for me to get out of the house and hang out at the Comedy Store, the Laugh Factory, the Improv, just to kind of get the juices flowing and like mentally. You know what I mean? Sometimes like the Flappers, you'll see me at Flappers. It's like sometimes I'm, I go to these clubs and then people. You connect and you're hanging out, and then sometimes that's where I do some of my writing, or just because it's very easy just to be like, I'm gonna stay home. It's already too late. But I do like to wait till I can spend as much time. I mean, dude, seriously, like sometimes he'll put on a full on concert for us, and it's like amazing. We're like he's like playing the piano and doing these songs, and he's funny, and you're just like, man, I want to watch this. I don't want to be. Let me wait till things wind down and then I go. So that could be an issue, but it's like, but I love it though.
What about your flashlight?
So do you find that it helps as a comedian hanging around the environment, being around it?
Yes.
Even if you're not performing, just
but that's what I'm saying. It's like my actually, I'm probably going to answer a question that's yes, it does help. It definitely helps. But also, I was going to say like. A lot of times my comedy inspiration, especially now, it comes from the family, like just seeing I don't know, like that to me is funny before, as opposed to when I was younger, then you're just talking about like whatever, like, roommates or whatever. But then when you start having like that thing you were talking about earlier about the pigs and like, that's something that's interesting. And then if you start making jokes on top of it, that's already super original. I don't hear anybody talking about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like at home, little things will happen. I'm like, I got to write that down. So like for example, when my son was, I don't know, like 9 or 10, he asked my wife, he goes, Mom, how many pounds do you weigh? Right. and then she goes, never ask a woman how many pounds. And then he thought about it and he goes, how many tons? And I'm like, I couldn't write that in a million years. Like that just happened, and I wrote it down. And then every now and then I'll see these things in my notebooks or my Facebook memories or Twitter, whatever, those Instagram memories. I'm like, oh, I forgot all about that. And it's comedy that's coming from, the home life, and that just comes to you. But then then back to your question, yes, just being out in the environment around other comedians. It helps as well.
Right.
It's hard to it'd be hard to write jokes just in a blank room with white walls. Like, be funny. Here's a pen and paper. It'd be like, it's a little bit harder to do that.
Yeah.
For me.
Do you find that audiences are really, and I'm starting to find this too because I do parent stuff, that people, whether they have kids or not, can relate to it because even though they're not parents, they used to be a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like. I remember when I was in my 20s and I started doing comedy. To me, it would be maybe it was a little bit boring or whatever. But I sometimes the older comedians would talk about having a baby, and I was just like, this is boring.
Right.
And I was kind of afraid to like talk about that stuff. I was like, oh, that sounds so boring. Like, and then the little guy, and we have the blow dryer, and we make sure his diet. And I was just like, this is so boring. And so, but as I got older, I also try to do my comedy, like not about the boring stuff, like about, like you said, you make it, like for example, you could have kids or not have kids, but it's going to be funny when I talk about playing hide and seek with them, because really what the jokes are is a couple of jokes. Like, we thought he had ADD, and then so I say, have you ever played hide and seek? You're hiding and they're not seeking. And he'd be like, ready or not, here I color. And then like 10 minutes later, I'm like, there you are. It's like, or I talk about as you get older, it's harder to hide. Like when you're like, when you're a little kid, you could hide under the bed. As you get older, you think too much about it. You're like, my knees are going to hurt. There's probably
I'll never get up.
I'll never get up, and stuff like that. So it's not really boring. It's like plus I'm acting it out. And I said, after 40, every time, maybe after about a minute, your bones crack out of nowhere. He's like, here I come, ready or not. And I'm trying to highlight.
It always gives me away.
Exactly. And I go, you get this uncontrollable urge to clear your throat, and he's like, where are you, Dad?
My creaking bones and my IBS always gives me away.
I think you guys might have osteoporosis. I'm not a doctor, but
We got to start drinking more milk or something.
What was the first time you did stand-up like?
First time I did stand-up, I'd already kind of did it without knowing I was doing it. I was in the speech and debate team, and we had to write these speeches, and mine were always, I'd go for the funny ones, and at the end, you're supposed to wrap it up with a point. And these judges would judge you, and they'd always be like, it was hilarious, it was funny, blah, 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 but you need more of a point. So it doesn't really have much of a point to it. The very first time I did it, there was like 5 people in the room. It was scary because I'd never really used a microphone before. And but I already knew what I was going to do, and I remember that the microphone was in one of those tripod style like mic stands that musicians
not the round bass like
yeah
this,
right
but
that's
I hate
yes
those.
yeah I know. And then it was also like a butterfly clip type thing, so when you take the mic out like this, the thing would go and it snapped onto the cord, and I couldn't, and then I tried to pick up the mic, and then the 3 legs collapsed, and it was just like a and then I remember the guy that introduced me, he was in a wheelchair, and his name was J.D. England. Shout out to J.D. And he's like, all right, he goes, okay, it's his first time doing stand-up comedy here at the whatever I was playing at. I forget the name of it, but please welcome Darren Carter. And I thought, like, oh, you got to be funny on the way to the microphone. You got to be funny as soon as they introduce you. And so I was in the middle. I came out as a character. I came out as Eddie Murphy, and it was just back when Ted Turner. There was a big controversy. This is way before he was born, man. But Ted Turner was colorizing black and white movies for his network. And, like Gone with the Wind or whatever. I don't know, these old black and white movies. He was colorizing. It was controversy. Some people were like, they were into it. They're like, oh, this is
Don't mess with the classics.
Yeah, don't mess with the classics. Others were like, no, a whole new audience will now finally watch a movie because it's not black and white. So back then I had a full head of hair. It was bright red. And so my bit that I would come up to the stage and I would pretend that I was really Eddie Murphy and that I'd been sitting in the makeup chair for 8 hours to be colorized. That's why I had orange hair and freckles and pale skin. So they'd be like, please, the guy in the wheelchair was like, please welcome Darren Carter. And I'd be like, man, this is bullshit. Ted Turner colorized me. Oh, man, I can't get JD. I can't get this mic out the mic. And then it was a fiasco. And then I remember he rolled back out there and he goes, Jesus. And he pinched it and then the thing came out. And then I continued my act. But that was the first time I did it.
And were you hooked right from the first time you did it?
Yes, I was hooked. But that didn't really, that was, I didn't do well though. Like it was good.
But still,
Yeah.
though, to come out your first time
Yeah.
and pretend to be Eddie Murphy, that's
one of the greatest comedians in the world.
That's ballsy.
I know. And then
Unique viewpoint right from the beginning.
the second time, I don't even remember what happened because it was just a blank. But the third time is where I actually killed. And it was a comedy contest. It was at Fresno State. And I didn't go there, but that's what the contest was. And it was sponsored by Certs and Doritos. And
Which go hand in hand.
yeah, exactly, right? And I remember...
Was it Search with Retson?
Yeah. Oh,
Do
it
you
might have
remember-
been.
Do you remember Retson?
Those are the little dots.
That was a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we lost you again on the Retson. Yeah.
Are
Do
there
you know
some
what
resin?
Certs?
I was like, from a pipe?
You know Certs? You know what Certs are, right?
Yeah. Certs.
Certs.
Is that like breath mints?
It's for your
Yeah.
breath, man.
Yeah. But
Back to the breath.
But the big thing was like Certs with Retson. These little dots of
Yeah.
chlorophyll. I don't know.
Everyone always... Yeah. It's
Did you say chlorophyll?
chlorophyll.
Did I say chlorophyll?
Yeah.
chlorophyll, not chloroform.
Oh.
Oh, chloroform. With chloroform.
We're not talking about your
passing
dating.
out.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, but that was the first time I ever like crushed. It was at the on-campus pub, and it was called that bar was called The Bucket, and it was jam-packed. It was packed with rowdy, like, you got to remember, dude, this is before you were born, young man. But it was before you were born, and they used to drink on campus. They had, like, these big pitchers of beer. And I remember, like, my first bit was a parody of a beer commercial that I made up. Basically, the bit was I do a long list of things, and then at the end, the big punchline, you know. But the opening would be like, I'd go, do you like to drink beer? I mean, really like to drink beer. I'm talking hard-hitting, heavy-working, sledgehammer, jackhammer, dirty finger. You know, just this whole long list, right? And then, but when I said, do you like to drink beer? The audience was like, yeah!
You won right there.
Oh, my God.
You won.
Right there, I was like, I mean, really like to drink. And they're like, yeah! I mean, it was just, that was where I was like, wow. Like, you could say something, and then this big, like, you know. It'd be interesting to see what it would be like to be who I am now and go back there and be like, in my mind, I might be like, this isn't even that good. But in the moment, you know.
Do you like to drink Chardonnay?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I should try that some night. See, I bet you wouldn't even do well. Like, if I went up right now at the Comedy Store, do you like to drink beer? You might get a few people. But, I mean, seriously, though, at that time, it was like I never heard anything like that before. Like being able to talk about, that's very powerful, right? To like say something and have the crowd go, yeah. By the way, let me tell you,
in that split second,
Yeah.
like you're on the same wavelength. You
Oh my
communicated
gosh.
something to them that they're giving
Yes.
you kudos for. They like it. They're on the same page. Like, that's incredible.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something. So 3 months into my comedy, I got to open for New Kids on the Block.
No
No
way.
way.
3 months in, yes. When they came through Fresno, they
God,
had
I was doing well. Jeez.
no. It's yeah. The promoter was like, we're gonna have a, you know, basically there was like auditions and it was all bands and whatever musicians but I was the only comedian. But the thing is, I think who knows why they chose me, but maybe it was because it was easy, you know, one mic, here it go, and then it was gonna be 5 minutes and that was it. And it was all impressions back then. That's what I'm saying. It was back then. It was like, you know, I would do basically like cartoons rapping. So that was my big bit back then. And I'd be like, you know, so here, I'll just do the bit.
Foghorn Leghorn.
I'll just do the bit. Let me just do the bit. All right, can I take this mic out of the mic stand?
Sure.
Because I've never really.
Do you want to stand up? Do you want a spotlight?
Yeah, no, I got my own, bro. I got my own.
When do you want the light? Give him 2 minutes, Nicky. Light him at 2 minutes.
Yeah. No, I think. Let me see if I remember how that bit went. It would go like. Remember, this is the past, so like this stuff is, and I was a kid, so.
Nicky was a fetus.
Yeah, remember
I
this.
was still on my dad's sack.
Yeah, this is way back in the day. So I'd be like. Well, my name is Bullwinkle. I'm a moose. Give me the mic and I'll cut loose. Now I'm a Kermit the Frog and I'm covered in green. Miss Piggy is fat. That's F-A-T, but it's my prerogative. That was a big song back then. And then my prerogative by Bobby Brown. And then I do Popeye. Well, blows me down. It couldn't be hipper. Shiver me timbers. I'm a Chippendale stripper. And then I dance around like a stripper. Boom, 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 boom. Bow, wow, yeah, what's cracking? It's the Deagle Double G, the big Snoop Dogg. Baby, and I would do this thing, right? And so, I forget how it ended, but
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank you, but I would do a little bit more than that. But here's where it went wrong. I thought, especially when you're new, you think, how can I make this bit better? So on the right before I went out on stage, I thought, I need to set it up better. I can't just start. I got to like set it up. And I go like this. I came out on stage. I go, are you guys ready to see the new kids on the block? No, I'm sorry. The host went like this. The host, the MC or whatever, the local morning DJ. I'll never forget. He goes, are you ready to see the new kids on the block? And all these little 12-year-olds are like, yeah. He's like, are you ready? Yeah. But first, that's what happened. Please welcome a comedian, Darren Carter. I had no credits. Darren Carter. And I went out there. I go, hi, guys. Are you guys excited to see the new kids on the block? And they're like, yeah. And then here's where I messed up. I go, I think we should replace the new kids on the block with an all-new cast or whatever. Uh-oh. Or all new members. And I'm thinking,
new kids.
Yeah, all new kids. Yeah, I was trying to, I was going to be like, yeah, we'll put instead of, Joey, we'll put this guy. And so as soon as I said that, they were like, boo. I mean, to have like 3,000 kids boo you. And then they started chanting, we want the new kids.
Oh, man.
We want the new. And it's all these little voices, these little kids. They were like, I say 12, but they're probably like, I felt like the majority, they might have been between 7 and like 12. But most of them were really young. And it was just like, oh my God, I started sweating. I rushed through it.
Oh
Good night. My 5 minutes probably turned to 3 minutes.
That's why I support abortions.
Well, that took a dark turn.
Dude, and that's why I what if that
Popeye and
by the way, he said it, not
Kermit
Darren.
the Frog.
Yeah. Kermit the Frog having an abortion. Well, it blows me down. I'll take you to the clinic. Oh my gosh.
I think you should do a remix.
Yeah, I think
So
we
I
need
was-
to bring that back out.
Man,
That's
so-
good shit.
Thank
man.
you. I think if I tell it as a story, but to actually, come on, if I actually went up on stage tonight, hey, new kid, no. But you know what though? Thank you. I was super like skeptical, like to open for bands after that. Why would I be?
Yeah.
Because all I could picture.
That's
yeah.
got to be a tough. The
Yeah.
toughest gigs as a comedian I can think of is going to open up for a band at a stadium, like
Oh yeah,
Was it at a theater?
that was at a theater. Yeah.
Wow.
a
Yeah.
theater or a stadium. Still, it's like
Oh, yeah.
They,
Oh, yeah. I see
They
that,
want to because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just so funny. There's like to have a comedian warm up a crowd that's going to listen to music and dance and
I think it's
bang
easy-
their
it's-
head
it's
or
easier
whatever.
when
It's just like it doesn't make sense to me.
It gets easier when the audience is a little bit older. Like who I got to open for, and he was awesome. Was Rick Springfield. That guy, because his audience was like 30s, 40s,
Rick
50s.
From The Simpsons?
No.
Jesse's girl.
Oh, yes,
I know that.
Do-do-do-do-do. Wish that I was
Do-do-do-do-do.
Jesse's girl.
Dude.
And he did some
Jesse is a
acting.
friend.
He's a handsome guy.
So that's why I should know.
You'd like it. No, I'm just saying he was a handsome guy. That's what
But
I
you know what's
remember.
funny?
Rick
I think
Springfield. Oh, and he's a good kisser.
Well, what did you think of like when Madonna had Amy Schumer open for her? I mean, I didn't open. I opened for a band, but it wasn't in theater. It was at the back of a bar, so not as exciting.
What was it like opening for a band?
It was actually a lot of fun because it was all girls, so I got to do all my Justin Bieber material, which I usually nobody else would appreciate other than prepubescent girls.
You opened up for the Indigo Girls?
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
No, I think it was a New Jersey band. I can't remember their name. Brand New something.
Wait, can I bring up a gig? And I probably shouldn't do this, but
No, please do.
Okay. We could change the topic, but I remember one time. I remember you had a hard set one time, opening up for like. Remember it was like a firefighter thing. In should I even bring that up?
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
I got.
I don't know.
attacked.
I didn't even know
You got
about
It
it.
was at a Christmas party
Yeah.
at Flappers, and there was a bunch of firefighters, and the person in front of me was just doing crowd all. I forgot who it was, but it was not well. So I was like, I'm gonna get the crowd by doing crowd work, and I said something to one of the firefighters' wives, and he freaked out.
Oh
No.
shit! I didn't even know
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. What side of the story did you
What
hear?
did you- what did you-
There's always two sides, yours, mine, and the truth. Yeah, but I
No,
said something stupid
What
to
did
the wife.
What did you say to the wife?
I don't know, probably something stupid.
The
but he
vibe
got-
that I got when I walked in there, because they were like, first of all, I think they cleared out all the tables and chairs and had all the firefighters on the perimeter of the room.
Yeah.
And there was just like a really like a fraternity frat boy vibe when I walked in. They were like, Darren, we need you to. You want to do a spot? We need to do more time. They were like the they basically said like the show, it's getting, they're really rowdy, man. Get in there. And I was like, oh, rowdy. But yeah, that was the vibe. Was that the vibe?
Who
That-
sent you? Darren's like, I'm gonna tell a story about the time that you were almost murdered on stage. Yeah, they were,
Okay,
But I love crowds like that. But
Yeah.
that night I made a bad choice, and I said something. But you know what? At the same
I
time,
really wish I knew what you said, but I've seen Nikki 100 times, and there's nothing that you've ever said that would instill
right.
someone to freak out
Listen,
like that.
I say something stupid, but you could go fight a fire, grow a pair. That's what I have to say to
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
fire
Yeah.
fire department.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
you can rent to buildings, but me making an innocent joke about your wife. I mean,
Right.
I probably said something about her having very manly shoulders because I think that now it's coming back to me. I said something along those lines.
Oh, and then I could picture that crowd kind of going like, ooh, or something. And then the guy
yeah,
probably
he
felt-
was like, "That's my wife you're talking about."
They were probably really
I was like,
drunk,
"Quick,
too.
there's a fire," and then I ran.
Quick, there's a
That's
fire.
it, her shoulders? I thought for sure you'd say something about her vagina.
It was something along the. It was an innocent joke.
Her big shoulders would fit in her vagina? Something?
But I would tell you, if my studio apartment goes on fire, I'm fucked.
You're
Because
screwed.
Don't let them know
nobody's
it's you. Don't
coming.
let them know it's you. Don't let
That's
them know
right.
it's
I'm gonna
you.
disguise my voice.
Yeah, I can see-
I'm Ricky London.
I can see the guy driving
Put
the
on a
fire
mask.
truck.
Yeah.
Nikki Paris. Why do I know? Turn it around, boys. Saw this kid at Flappers.
I didn't know that you went. How was it? How was your set in that room? First of all, did you please set the scene that there was sternos in the side of the room? So it wasn't even like
Sternos? What?
Yeah, it was like a fucking family barbecue.
For the firefighters?
Yes.
Like just to make them feel at
It
home?
was
It's like,
their
we're
Christmas
gonna
party.
have a small fire in the corner for you fellas. Just to
A small fire. in the corner.
I
our
should've-
tribute to the brave men and women.
No, it was like a Christmas party, so it was like food and everything.
Yeah, I felt like
Like performing at a Knights of Columbus.
it was definitely it was a weird vibe when I walked in. Like I said, it was like that frat house kind of, you know. And then somebody said that you had said something, and then your time you bailed early or whatever, but they didn't blame you for that, and you know.
I don't believe I bailed early. I believe they said leave the room.
Oh, okay.
So I was asked to leave by the people who were the audience. The guy was in
Really?
charge. He said leave. So I
Oh,
said okay.
wow.
It was a private party?
Yeah.
First of all, it was a private party in a small room, so it was really awkward. It was it wasn't
It's
like
the small flap
yes,
room. Yeah.
they call it the Yoo-hoo room because I
Yoo-hoo
walked
room,
in and
right.
I was like, what am I walking into? Like I don't. This looks like a tough. I mean, that room can be any of these small rooms can be tough because they're not very show busy, right? They're almost like you're just, you know, it's almost like you said, like if that would have been a bigger room and you're like roasting someone, it's, I don't know. It's
It
like,
was literally.
It's also
Yeah.
it's not a very dark room, and I find dark
Yes.
rooms.
There was also
you
6
can make,
people there.
You can make eye
So
contact.
it was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
let me add that. There was 6 people, and it was a private
Right.
party, and they all knew each other.
yeah, they all
But
know each
also,
other.
I
Yeah.
think in a lighter room, people can share eye contact. So it's
Yep,
like if
yep.
somebody says a joke that I don't like, I can look
Yeah.
to you like, oh, that didn't sit well with me, and you'll be like, oh shit, I guess I shouldn't laugh at that. 'cause-
I try to
do you know
avoid,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like I think that can infect a room.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
going to blame it on.
Yes. It's,
No,
when I reflect on it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm all new to this shit. But that's what I
He's
found.
only been doing stand-up for like 6 months now.
No, it's gonna be a year, February 12th.
Yeah.
So,
Came so quick.
so we talked about how we each had a bad show. What have you had a bad show yet? Where you're just like,
Not yet. Not yet. I hate when people ask me that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna go and shit the bed like my next show.
Well,
Which
until
is
someone
January
tells you
30th
Get
at
out.
Pickwick's.
I think you'll be fine.
Hey, let me ask you more about this boxing because this is great. Like, what you were describing, the one-way boxing. It's like that's a great exercise for both people, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I've been away from it for about 3 months. Just kept busy in the holidays and everything. But I tell you, man, I was in the best shape of my life because I'm doing like 20, 30 rounds with people
Dang.
4 times a week.
It's you know what? It's I started going to that boxing gym like a few years ago, and I mainly do like like the different gyms I've been to. I'm mainly hitting the bag, jumping rope. I've hit pads, but it's like I still at the point where I still have to think about everything. Like
Right.
like when people who've been boxing since they were kids, they can just like it's almost like tying your shoe. You just tie your shoe, and then you're on. I'm still going when they're like to me it's still a math problem. Like when you're like if you were to be like calling out numbers like give me a 1 3 1 4, I'd be like
Right.
1 3 1 4. And when they're like dip slip duck, and I'm like
Right,
what is it
yeah.
again? Like it's still yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
it's just a matter of just trusting yourself. How long you been doing it?
It's almost embarrassing because now it was great when it was like, oh, I've only been doing it a year now, but now we're going into like probably almost 4 years now.
Oh, dude, then you gotta
Yeah.
get out of your
Do you
head.
know all the
You gotta get it-
combinations
stop.
like naturally? Because
No.
I did kickboxing and I couldn't remember. To
No.
me, I was like, it's like choreography.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
Which I'm also
choreography.
horrible at, yeah.
Yeah, it's like choreography. It's like
But then at the end of the day, it doesn't matter either. Like when I have
Yeah.
some students and Sundays I get a lot of little kids, and I was just like, look, we're not professional fighters. Like we're not doing this for real. We're not making money doing this. Let's have fun. That's the number one thing. So it doesn't. If you fuck up your combos, it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
it's super fun. Like one of the guys. Oh, see, because where I go, it's almost. Well, I don't know how because I just joined this new gym a couple weeks ago, but it's mostly pros where I've been going, and I think the pros are coming back. But like this one guy, they're from Kazakhstan. These brothers. One of them's they all fight on TV and stuff. So his brother, he's a boxing coach. He does documentaries and stuff on him. And so I think that he just would be there, I mean, how long can you look at your camera and film stuff? So he'd be like, come on, let's go, party starter. And so he'd hold up the things. And then the next level that I went, which I didn't realize, is when you're hitting pads, not just on the floor like here, but in the ring has more mush to it and it gives.
Yeah,
And
it's sprung.
that's exhausting. And then he started doing this thing where he's like, not just hitting the pads, but trying to like tap me back. And like,
Yeah.
he's like, go, walk. And he's making me move and change directions. And you're like, man, I was like, you're soaking wet and your feet hurt. And at the end, you're like, damn, I pushed myself.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a total game changer, and that's it's an idea I came up with because all the gyms that I used to go to, I spar at, and I was just like, okay, how can I get the average Joe and mom or wife or kid and give them that same experience? And then I came up with the one way sparring.
I love that.
It's so much fun, man. Yeah, we should work out
Yeah.
sometime, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, I
One-way
dig that.
sparring.
Yeah.
I like that. the one-way sparring. It's interesting. Like even just with do you call it the windshield wiper or whatever when they punch you? You're supposed to like use your or no?
Yeah.
I try not to get too much movement in my blocking.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll tell you with my son.
I like
catching.
I like catching.
The jab and
catching,
catch.
but also just like I like foreman. I love foreman.
Yeah.
Foreman would bat your jab down.
Yeah.
But just with the smallest movement.
Yeah. See, when they do it real so small like that. So this old school boxer was teaching me like, shout out to Coach Stan Ward.
Stan Ward.
I don't know if you know him.
All
right, now he's just been around for a long time, and what you doing? I would jump rope and I'd look what I can do, and I do that thing. Now freeze? What does that have to do with boxing? I go, your arms. I go, I don't know. He goes, no, I'm just asking you. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, what does that have to do? I go, I don't. He goes, when in boxing are your arms ever crossed like that? I go, I don't know. He's quite a character, but one of the things he would say,
he sounds a bit like Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. All right, now don't hurt nobody. That's what he would always say when the boxers leave. Don't hurt nobody. And then when I leave, be careful. But one of the things he would say is when he would have me do this thing where you put your thumb on your nose, and when people jab at you, you're supposed to just like bat it away. But I don't know what I'm doing, so it's like I have my son. When he's 11, not now, but when he was 11, I go, hey, son, jab me. Throw a jab, because he didn't take one dose. So he goes, you want me to punch you in the nose? I go, yeah, just do it, but don't go fast. Don't go too hard, but just give me like a jab. And then, of course, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So right when he did it, I went like this, and the punch went bam, and I went, ooh.
You okay?
I know. I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be teaching this, because I go, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me.
You squealed in a B flat.
The thunk on the floor.
Dude, I am getting hot in here, man. I'm sweating and stuff.
This is the next part of the show. No.
Jeez, I'm going to take this off. But
well, listen, sir, it's been so great having you on. Tell us
We
what
love
do you got coming up. We love you, man. You're
Thank
very
you. I'll
funny.
come back anytime. Thank you.
And this is the portion of the show where you plug the shit out of anything and everything you got going on, my friend.
Oh, man, you guys are great. Thank you so much for having me. My podcast is called Pocket Party. I'm holding up my card. That's the image. You guys are already listening to podcasts, so you know how to find it. Darren Carter, Pocket Party, my YouTube channel. Look up Darren Carter. Please subscribe. And I'm out there on the road, so come see me somewhere. And thank you to your wonderful listeners for listening. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out, man. You're a very funny guy. If you haven't seen his stuff, check him out on YouTube. The Crazy Ginger, he's a funny guy. And from the sounds of it, a really good dad and a really good husband.
I love him.
Thank you.
Yeah, please be my friend.
Thank you. I will be.
I want to be friends with this man.
Thank you.
He's a good man.
What if your mics go off and you guys are, get the fuck out of here?
I'm so glad he's gone. And he needed a piece of gum.
Oh my God.
That guy's breath was
The
terrible.
halitosis was disgusting. Oh my God. What do you got going on, Nikki? Where can we see you?
I have a bunch of shows. They're all over. I'm playing the Improv in February. I'm headlining the LGBT Orange County Center February 22nd.
Awesome.
That wasn't a joke. I don't know why I giggled. I'm performing in London.
Whoa.
You can check my Instagram, Nicky Paris, bitch. I post everything on my story.
And don't forget, you can see Nikki January 30th at Pickwick's Pub in Woodland Hills.
Oh, I'll be there.
My show, you'll see me there as well, and maybe we can convince our new friend here to pop in.
What are you doing Thursday?
Thursday, January 30th. And then I'm headlining at the Federal Bar February 5th. So come on out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's great. I love that place so much. Such a good room. But anyway, again, a special thank you to Darren Carter. Such a funny man, nice man. Thank you to all our listeners out there. We love you guys. And until next time, be good.